And we're live. I'm Ivana.
And I'm Ayla.
And we are Girls in Goal, and this is podcast number 11.
Yay! Hey guys.
Hey.
I know you missed us on Tuesday, but we're back. The reason we pushed it back is because we have a very special feature for you this episode.
So excited!
We'll get to that later. We'll start with Dynamo news as we do every week. BBVA opened!
Ah! Oh my gosh, guys. I can't even begin to describe the emotions.
It was insane. You know, the crowds were huge. It was a sellout game. The area was completely packed. All of the pregame festivities were wonderful. Because we got the pleasure of playing DC United, that meant that we got Pat Onstad, who's an amazing Dynamo legend. He was there. He got to participate in some of the pregame festivities. So it was absolutely amazing. I can't even begin to describe the atmosphere there. You need to experience it yourself.
Yeah.
You need to. You must.
I mean, not all of them are going to be opening day atmospheres, but I mean, the atmosphere since then...
Still amazing.
Still amazing, and it's crazy to think that this stadium is ours, especially after 6 years of jumping through hoops to get it downtown. Because we could have had the stadium earlier.
We wanted it downtown.
We wanted it downtown, and so we really fought, and now it's here, and it was so worth the wait.
And, you know, I can't give enough praise to the Houston Dynamo front office, the Houston Dynamo organization. They put so much together for that opening day, and it all went off beautifully, and, you know, props to them. Snaps for the Dynamo.
And I don't think the day or the game could have gone too much better than it did.
No.
So...
and, you know, there's been a high praise for BBVA from former players. Specifically, Danny Cruz and Lavelle Palmer, who played in the first two games, respectively, with DCU and Portland. What Lavelle Palmer said, who is still a Houston favorite, he tweeted, "If you're from Houston and have appreciation for the finer things in life, you wouldn't miss the opportunity to visit Dynamo New Stadium." And it's true, you wouldn't. And Danny Cruz actually went on to say in a crazy 3-part tweet, but I pulled out the little part that was about the stadium. And he said, "Congrats to the Dynamo fans and entire organization. It is a beautiful stadium and another great atmosphere." So, and every feedback that I've heard from every player and staff that has been there so far has said that it was amazing.
Absolutely.
And it's so exciting to hear that other people appreciate it.
Yeah, not just, you know, the
not
Dynamo
just
fans.
us.
Yeah. So, that was a whole lot of fun. It was a great day. If you've seen any of the pictures, it's a gorgeous stadium. It's just beautiful, great atmosphere. It's great for Houston, not just, you know, the MLS.
Yeah.
So,
so talking about the first game, Colin Clark got some playing minutes recently, and he actually was officially added to the Gay for Soccer Gay Ally list. So congrats to Colin Clark for that. Actually, coming up, we're going to be doing an interview with the editor of Gay for Soccer, his name is Chris, to kind of talk about the Colin Clark situation and the impact that it's had on the league. So look for that coming up. In other Colin Clark news, he announced on Twitter that he's a new dad.
congratulations, Colin!
Congratulations, Colin. So that's exciting. And other just kind of fluffy, exciting Dynamo news, there have been some Dynamo birthdays lately. Adam Moffat's birthday was on the 15th.
So, Tuesday.
So this past Tuesday.
Which was the first night game at BBVA. And then Tally Hall's birthday was actually the inaugural match.
On the 12th. Yeah. Speaking of Tally Hall, if we're going to talk about that guy, we had a chance to catch up with Tally Hall to talk about BBVA, and we played a little game that we like to call 60 Seconds with the Dynamo.
After an initial little bit of a, you know, back and forth.
A little interview in the front. So without further ado, here is
the first Girls in Goal interview with Tally Hall.
Tally Hall.
Hi, I'm Ivana with Girls in Goal. I'm here with Tally Hall of the Houston Dynamo. Tally, how are you?
Doing all right, and always happy after a shutout.
Always happy. There you go. Speaking of shutouts, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Happy belated birthday. How was it celebrating your birthday with a new stadium, a win, and a shutout?
I got to celebrate the birthday after the win, but all day leading up to it was kind of like an afterthought.
Right.
So it was fun, and didn't let myself get caught up too much in the ceremonies of opening a new stadium. But afterwards, I got to celebrate my birthday. Got to enjoy the fact that it was the inaugural match, and it was pretty fun.
There you go.
it's significantly louder, so sometimes it makes it difficult for us to communicate, but it makes it a better atmosphere to play in, more fun for the fans, and just kind of a more difficult place for opposing teams to come in and have a good day.
And that's what we want.
Exactly.
And do you think christening the new stadium with a win was a good omen for the future and the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think it's something that's almost written in the stars. It had to happen, and it was nice that we got it done.
Okay, we're going to do a little bit of a rapid fire here. 60 seconds to answer as many questions that I have for you as possible. So you ready?
I'm ready.
Hold on just a second. Fix it. Oh, I know how to do it. You ready? Ready? I got it.
Okay.
Ready? Okay. So explain the offside rule to somebody who doesn't watch soccer.
When a pass is made, if the attacking player is behind the second defender, he's offside.
Craziest thing that has happened on the road with the team?
Yeah, I don't know.
Pass. Okay. If you could play any other position, what would it be and why?
I would score 1,000 goals this season as a forward, obviously.
Obviously. And on the same note, best goal celebration you've seen?
Levesque in Seattle, he did the submarine dive in, yeah.
Okay. Hunting or fishing?
Hunting.
Biggie or Tupac?
Tupac.
Man City or Man United?
Man United.
Iker Casillas or Victor Valdez?
Casillas.
New York or LA as a city?
LA.
Big city or small town?
Small town.
How do you wind down after a game? Besides giving the interviews?
I don't sleep.
Oh.
That's how I
And
wind down.
that's time, guys. Thanks, Tally, for doing this. This is yelling at me. Thanks, Tally, for doing this interview with us. This is actually our first interview with Girls in Goal.
And that's that.
I would just like to tell people that I was really flustered and really nervous. Not because I was in the presence of Tally, but just because it was the first interview.
It was the first interview ever, so bear with us. Actually, though, if you've been paying attention to our Twitters and our personal Tumblrs, you'll recognize a couple of those questions because a couple of them were actually listener submitted. So thank you to
guys.
The two people who submitted the two people who submitted their questions for that. We can't really blame the other listeners, though. We didn't officially announce it on Girls in Goal, so you kind of had to sneak around with that one. But thank you so much, and hopefully we'll have more interviews as time progresses.
And also thank you to Tally Hall for amusing two random girls.
Yeah, for amusing us and for hopefully amusing you guys and for being just an excellent sport. So thanks, Tally. The last little bit of Dynamo news that we have is that Andre Hainaut has been called up for Canada. The last game that he'll play is probably going to be the Galaxy game before he goes away. So, good luck, Andrew. I'm nervous without you, but good luck, and always proud to see one of our boys get called up. Always proud.
Yeah.
So, moving on to a listener question that we actually got today. It was an anonymous question, so whoever you are, I hope you're listening.
I assume so. I mean,
yeah, we really do answer all the questions we get. So the question was, background info and info in general on Nathan Sturgis. Never heard of him before the Dynamo got him.
so it wasn't really a question.
It wasn't really a question,
Just
just
a
a
request.
talking point.
A request.
But here you go. You know, I don't think that this is something that's all that uncommon just within Dynamo fans. I feel like Sturgis has kind of, what I found out is he has a ton of experience, but he kind of flew under the radar, so
Yeah.
it's totally understandable. Don't feel bad.
Yeah, I didn't really know who he was when we acquired him. Honestly,
either.
I had to do some Googling, but
So, basic bio on the guy. He's 24 years old. He's from Florida. He's 5'10". He's listed as a defender / midfielder. He primarily plays in the midfield, though.
yeah. Preseason he played a little defender, so you know, he's obviously a little versatile.
It's good to have somebody versatile in the organization.
Yeah.
As far as his experience, like I said, he has a ton of it. So we'll go all the way back to when he was in college. He went to Clemson University and he signed a Jen Adidas contract.
Actually, backtracking a little bit though, when he was at Clemson, he had a year of overlap with Stuart Holden, because Stuart Holden had 2 years at Clemson also, and he also did 2 years, but the 2 years in the middle
overlapped. So
yeah, the 1 year in the middle overlapped, and then anyways, yeah.
So yeah, there's a little like fun Dynamo connection for you. He signed a Generation Adidas contract, and he was the 12th selection overall. He was selected by the Galaxy. He played for the Galaxy 06 to 07. He was then traded to Real Salt Lake. He played there 07-08. And then, in the 2008 expansion draft, he was selected by the Sounders when they joined the league. So that's when he moved to the Sounders. He played there the 9 and 10 seasons. And then, in the 2010 expansion draft, he was selected by Vancouver, but then was immediately traded to Toronto literally the next day.
Yeah.
So that's when he played for Toronto in 2011, and then we got him. We got him.
So he's been bounced around a lot, but I think he's, very promising. I hope that we get to see more of him as, players get called into national team action and whatnot.
Right. He has a really impressive statistics. If you want to go, his statistics are listed actually on the MLS website. You can look at them. They're pretty impressive. I feel like, nobody should be worried that, oh, he's bounced around so much. Why? Not necessarily a bad reason.
Sometimes you just don't fit.
Well, and besides that, you have to realize that 2 of the times that he got moved around was because he was selected in drafts.
Yeah.
So, that's a big deal. Everybody, you could say everybody wants him.
Yeah.
He does some pretty fancy footwork, I noticed.
He does. He covers a lot of the field really quickly. He's fast. And he puts himself in good positions.
Yeah, he seems really excited to be in Houston as well. If you want to check out his Twitter, he's at Nathan Sturgis on Twitter. And yeah, he seems really excited to be in Houston, really excited to be a part of the organization. So welcome Nathan
Sturgis.
Welcome, Nathan. And if you ever have any questions or comments, or you want us to talk about something, do not hesitate to send them in, because we will look it up and we'll talk about it. So that's Dynamo news. Moving on to MLS news. Whoa.
Just a reminder that our contest is still going on.
Yes, you have until the 21st. The winner will be announced on the 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
You can find all the details on the website.
Yep, and we've had
we've had response.
We've had response. So we'll repost all of the details for that after this podcast.
Yes, and just a reminder, the contest is you win an autograph by the entire 2012 roster inaugural season shirt.
Yep, and we'll post pictures of that as well.
Yes. Okay, so now we're really moving on to MLS. Whoa, what happened? Hello, Chivas USA.
Yeah.
Where have you been hiding?
Yeah. Chivas making moves today.
Yeah, throwing money around like you own the place. So, if you've been living under a rock and you didn't hear today,
or you were at work all day like a hardworking human being, and didn't have Twitter at your fingertips like we do.
So, the Philadelphia Union officially trades Danny Califf to Chivas USA for, forgive me if I mispronounce this name, Mike Lahoud, and allocation money.
Yeah.
My only comment on this is why, though? Okay, I know Philly is having a rough season, and I know that Califf has only played 4 games for them, but sometimes, like, the presence of leadership is so important, especially to a team in a transition year like Philly is having. Why would you take their captain away from them? Why would you give that away?
Yeah, the leadership and locker room presence is, it's gonna suffer, and that there could be argument made saying that affects on-field play.
Right. I mean, I feel like if you are already having a tough season as a team, you don't take away a morale booster like Califf.
And he is a fan favorite. He's been there,
Right. He's been the captain since he went there.
Yeah. So,
I don't understand it, but good luck to Danny in everything that he does. I personally think he's a really classy player. I like the guy.
I like him a lot.
Speaking of
Chivas.
Okay, Chivas made a trade. They traded, this was actually the more complex of the two trades. Chivas USA sent Heath Pierce to the New York Red Bulls in exchange for Juan Agudelo. There were some riders on this. They also sent them, what I've heard is, quote-unquote, a large amount of allocation money. There's also a sell-on fee for Agudelo if Chivas ever sells him. And Chivas has to continue to pay a chunk of Heath Pierce's salary as well as Agudelo's salary when he moves over to them. The thing that I don't understand about this Chivas trade is Heath Pierce is such an integral part of their back line. He's arguably...
their team is already kind of
shaky.
Yeah.
He honestly is arguably one of the most important people on that team. I don't understand why you would trade him for Agudelo, who, while he has the name, he has the star power, he has the, like, oomph, he's not 100% yet.
No, I do understand it, though, a little bit. Like, not completely, but I understand Chivas' desire to score more goals. They've scored, what, 6 goals on the season, and...
I mean, he'll also work well with Juan Pablo Angel.
I think so, too. I mean, they
were together.
Yeah, they were teammates before, so... you know, the familiarity, I think, will work well for Agudelo, and I mean, it's going to be tough to see how these trades, you know, work out.
Right.
Yeah, I think Heath Pierce will just intensify or help supplement that New York back line.
Right. I would worry that Heath Pierce would not necessarily get the playing time he deserves over at New York because New York already has such a solid back line.
They can go back and forth, though.
Yeah, I mean, in New York, their most consistent players right now are Ryan Mira and Dax McCarty. And then, obviously, the forward combination up front. But as far as the back line goes,
Ryan
Mira and Dax McCarty.
I think Heath Pierce can break into the back four if... You know.
I mean, I think that Heath Pierce is wonderful, and I wish him all the best luck in the world.
Yeah. You know, we'll see with Juan Agudelo. Like, I know he's kind of, you know, hyped and whatever. He's kind of... Everybody goes crazy over him. I see the talent, I see the potential, but I want to see kind of a payout before I hop on.
Right. I feel like as of right now, what we're seeing is just potential. The kid got lucky. Not necessarily lucky. He is talented. I'm not trying to say that Juan Agudelo is untalented. What I'm saying is he's a kid.
Right.
He's so young. He scored a goal on his 18th birthday, which is honestly dumb luck. And after that, people kind of went crazy. They bought into the hype, and they're turning the name Juan Agudelo into something that is just hype, and that frightens me not only for the USMNT,
but for Juan.
also for Juan Agudelo, because when you put him on a pedestal like that before he's had time to fully develop, it's not fair to him. And we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. But hopefully, you know, the trades work out for both teams. I'm nervous for Chivas spending so much money.
Right, like you own the joint. Come on.
But I mean, if that's where they think that they need to spend their money, then so be it.
We'll see what happens. It'll definitely be interesting to watch. Speaking of the Red Bulls, if you hadn't heard, Wilman Conde was arrested for assaulting a police officer. Yeah. So you can look that story up. It's not really the most interesting story to me. He was at fault for that one. It's hard for me. I've seen a couple people compare it to the Tyler Derrick arrest. I feel like they're not similar at all because the difference being Tyler Derrick wasn't intoxicated.
Right.
And supposedly there are also witnesses to back up the Tyler Derrick story that he didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
So, whereas with Wilman Conde, we know he was drunk, he assaulted a police officer, that's what happened.
Oh, wait, hold on, though. Going back to the Juan Agudelo thing, I would like to make a note that he did request this trade. he requested to be traded.
Right, yeah. He wanted to leave New York.
Because he wasn't, you know, with Henry and Cooper up front, he wasn't getting playing time.
It's a smart career move. So.
Smart career move for him. Still questionable as to whether it's good for Chivas.
Back to Conde.
Yeah, sorry guys.
No, it's alright. Conde, so we finally got a decision down from the New York Red Bulls as to what they were going to do about this situation. The final decision is that Conde will be fined but not suspended. So that's that. They should have Conde back. Another little piece of MLS news, the Galaxy went to the White House to be honored for winning the Cup. This is something that happens every year.
Yes.
So this is not, you know, special treatment for the Galaxy. The reason that it was controversial this year is that Chuck Todd, who's a newscaster for MSNBC, made some rudish comments about the Galaxy, and his tone on soccer in general, it was kind of blasé, and he kind of wanted to write off the sport, and it was just really inappropriate for him to make those kinds of comments as a professional. And Univision has a host who hosts the most popular sports show on Univision, and his name is Fernando Fiore, and he freaked out on Twitter. He was like, he tweeted about it, he freaked out, he basically said it's not okay. So now there's a little, you know, newscaster rivalry. What I did find out later is that apparently Todd made similar comments when the Rapids made a visit, when they won back versus FC Dallas. So apparently this guy is just always
anti-soccer,
talking crap about soccer, and same old story.
Nothing unusual, like nothing new, honestly. I mean, there are always going to be reporters and people and whatever writing off soccer as not that important of a sport, but we're here, we're staying.
Get over it.
Get over it.
Do you have any more MLS?
I don't have any more.
I think we covered everything in the MLS. The big ticket item was those Chivas trades. So I'd like to hear particularly Chivas fans' opinions on these trades. How do you think it's going to affect your club? Because ultimately you're the fan, you're the consumer. This is something that directly affects you.
And I'm interested to know what people think this will do for Juan Agadello's career, just because, you know, going from a high-profile club to kind of a low-brow. Sorry, Chivas.
Right. No, it's true that you have to admit, and this is something that sometimes even works in Chivas' favor.
Right.
Is that they're kind of known as the underdog.
And they're on the outskirts.
Nobody takes them super seriously, even though, you know, they have people like Dan Kennedy in goal.
And Juan Pablo Angel.
And so, and sometimes you see them come out and they'll just completely demolish a team because that team was like, oh, we're just playing Chivas.
Yeah, no big deal. But yeah, I mean, if any Chivas fans, you know, are listening to us, we want to know your opinion, and we want to know, you know, your concerns and your hopes for Chivas going forward from here. What are you giggling about? Oh, you need to stop.
So I think that does it for MLS news. Moving on to the USMNT. It's been a while since we've touched on them, but we got some call-ups.
Woo! Okay, so just kind of a recap of all these the call-ups. This is only half of them.
Right.
So
group of 16. I've heard that there's going to be a second group announced on May 20th, and then the final 23-man roster will be announced on May 25th.
Right. So for goalkeepers, Brad Guzan, Tim Howard, Nick Armando, nothing crazy.
No.
Defenders, Boca, Edgar Castillo, Dolo, and Alfredo Morales. Midfielders, Kyle Beckerman, Michael Bradley, Joe Corona. Maurice Seydoux, Fabian Johnson, Jermaine Jones, Jose Torres, and Danny Williams. And then the lone forward so far is Clint Dempsey. Deuces.
So, yeah, how do you feel about this first group?
It's overall predictable.
Right.
And I'm pretty satisfied with it. I like the kind of intermixing of the younger players with the veterans. I think Klinsman's doing a good job with, you know, integrating the new with the old.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I know that the reason they release them in groups is partially to kind of keep the fans on their toes. I wish that we had been told less midfielders and maybe more defenders, mostly because I'm really, really, really like, there are a couple people in the defenders category that if they don't get called up, I will be like personally offended.
So, this happens a lot.
So yeah, I wish that we had gotten more defenders announced, but that's okay. Keep me on my toes, Klinsmann. I get it.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't think any more goalkeepers will be called in. I think three.
No, I think that's
three
done.
three is his cap. I do hope there are more MLS players called in, though.
I was under the impression that this first group was supposed to be primarily international players, and the second group was supposed to be MLS players. But then I looked at this first group, and we do have, obviously, Beckerman and Ramondo.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be reasons why they got called into this first group, but it makes me nervous for the other MLS players that are getting called in.
Yeah.
Or hopefully, fingers crossed, getting called in. So, I mean...
So who do you think is going to get in the second group? Or who would you like to see given a nod?
Jeff Cameron, surprise.
Jeff, this is one of mine that I was saying I'll be personally offended if he doesn't get a call-up.
Yeah, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. Right.
I really want to see Eric Lehigh get back into the international mix. Gooch, I think, is going to get a call-up just because he's so solid. Clarence Goodson... not all of these are going to get called up. These are just people that...
We want to make a note that you're going to listen to the second group predictions that we make, and there's going to be more than 23 people. We understand that.
Yeah. These are just the people that, we suspect may be getting call-ups.
Right.
So,
I'd like to see Tim Ream.
I mean, Bolton just got relegated.
Well, yeah. I still think he's a solid player.
I would like to see Zach Lloyd.
I feel like that one's kind of a long shot.
Now
that you mention it, I would really like that too, but I feel like that's really a long shot.
It's a lot. I mean, some of these are going to be long shots. People, y'all are going to be like, Ivana, you're off your rocker.
Although, we have to remember Zach Lloyd is really aggressive, and I feel like that's not necessarily something that fits with the USMNT style necessarily.
Right, but we do have to start thinking about replacing Boca and Dolo. And, and Gooch. Yeah. So it would be, maybe this isn't the time, maybe this isn't the place, but I think
Zach Lloyd is a solid choice for the future of the USMNT.
Right.
I agree.
Any other defenders that...
Jonathan Spector.
Maybe. I could see that. I could see that. Not one of my first choices, but hey.
No, I mean, I think he might get a nod just because he's fairly reliable.
Yeah, and, and capped.
Yeah.
So. Midfielders, okay, Landon Donovan he announced that he was getting...
Yeah, he straight up said, somebody asked him, do you think that you're gonna be missing MLS play after the Chivas game due to international duty? And he said, fairly likely, aka, I already got the phone call, I'm just not leaving yet.
Yeah, because he still has all of his, Galaxy obligations. But, yes, Landon Donovan, so we will likely see Landon and Clint finally play together again.
Finally. Sasha.
I can see that. I don't have him written down, but I can see that. He's, fairly reliable.
Again, a reliable. And I think that Klinsmann, while I like the mixing of the younger players with the newer players, I think it's really important to have people in there who we know are reliable.
Right.
So while it's boring, it's useful.
Yeah. I think Breck Shea is going to get a call-up.
Most likely.
Breck Shea, Benny Feilhaber.
I mean, Breck Shea hasn't been on his toes. And we'll get to the games in part 2. In case you didn't read the tweets, we're going to be doing a 2-parter. But Breck Shea really hasn't been on top of his game lately, and I don't know what's up with that. I know that he's been playing with an injury, but it's kind of like, what?
Yeah. So I won't be super surprised if he gets left off the roster this time, but I also won't be surprised if he gets called up.
Right.
I think Benny might get a look. I don't know that he'll necessarily get called up.
He did really well this most recent game.
This is true.
So we'll see about that. I don't know. Honestly, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and this is just personal opinion. I'm kind of over Benny being capped right now. I feel like if he kind of develops further and kind of gets back on his game, he's faltered.
Because you're usually on the
Usually
on the pro Benny. Like,
usually I'm like, yes, Benny Philibert, I love you. No, when you sit back and you really look at the way that he plays, he used to be so much stronger. Lately, he's been faltering, and I don't know why that is. I know he's about to get married, or he just got married, and then with the move and the...
Well, he got injured. He got a little bit of an injury earlier in the season.
But I don't know. It just it's odd because overall, I think Benny's a strong player. I think that recently he hasn't been the best that he could be.
Right. And my long shot for this one is DeMarcus Beasley.
I didn't even write him down.
So
honestly,
my long shot, I think he's solid. He had a decent season with his team, with his club. So what up, DeMarcus? I'm on Team Beasley. So forwards.
Hercules.
Yes, that was my first one. First written. Terrence Boyd all but announced that he was going to get a call-up. So we'll see Terrence Boyd. My long shot, Chris Wondolowski.
I have him written down too with like a question mark next to his name because I think he would do really well with the USMNT, and I would like to see him get a nod because he's sort of unstoppable.
Yeah, he's hot right now. So I think Klinsmann will kind of try to take advantage of that.
Right, he's essentially, obviously, for some reason I get this question a lot and I feel like it's fairly known. Dwayne De Rosario is a Canadian. Just so people say all the time, why doesn't Dayro get called up? Because
he's Canadian.
I feel like Wando is his equivalent, like his American, just in regards to what he is, what he could be to the team.
Yeah. I mean, I realize that, club play doesn't always necessarily translate to international play, but, hey.
I think that Wando, though, I think that he has been consistent enough in his club for long enough that it should, at this point, prove that he can be consistent in other arenas.
Absolutely. And then, obviously, Josie. So...
yeah,
that's more than 23. We know.
We understand.
We know, but those are the people that we suspect may be getting
or that we would like to see get a nod at some point in time.
Yeah. Speaking of this USMNT news, Timmy Chandler.
I didn't write anything about this down because it really upset me, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw out a disclaimer. I'm not going to go really far into it. I love being American, and I love everything about being American.
America!
And I don't understand.
Well, what I've read is, okay, Timmy's had a pretty good season with his club in Germany, and he does have dual citizenship.
Right.
And, I mean, he's not going to get called in for Euros for Germany, obviously.
When you look at the German, honestly, just based on a career move, it would be smarter for him to commit to the U.S., honestly. When you look at the players that the German national team has available to them to call up, it would be smarter for him to commit to the U.S., just as a career move.
Yeah. I get the glamour of wanting to play for the German national team. I do. I really do. If I thought he had a legitimate
chance with the German national team,
then I wouldn't even be mad.
Right.
But the thing is, he has said in interviews that he is committed to America. He's committed to the U.S. national team. This is where his heart is. And to say something like that and then kind of do what he's been doing, I mean, it doesn't sit well with me. And I'm finding it hard to stay stoked on him when he doesn't want to wear my crest, when he doesn't want to wear my colors, he doesn't want to wear, the jersey, because all of the other players on this team, all of them that have been called up so far, all of them that have been called up recently, would kill, if they weren't getting called up, they would kill to be and Klinsmann's not going to keep calling him. If he keeps rejecting the call-ups, he's not going to get them for very much longer. And then
I feel like it puts him, up a creek without a paddle because, dude, come on.
Yeah.
The German national team is not going to call you up. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. Honestly, look at the players they have available to them. They are all better than Timmy Chandler. They just
I
are.
don't know about all. I mean,
Maybe not all of them, but they have a pretty solid kind of nucleus within the German national team.
Yeah, but that's not to say that he can't come on as a sub or, you know.
Right. I feel like it's a long shot.
It is a long shot. That's why everybody's kind of up in arms about it, I think. But, you know.
I feel like it's a real long shot.
Okay, I will say this. I don't want anybody on this team that doesn't want to be here. That doesn't want to wear this, that doesn't want to represent this crest. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how talented you are. I need you to want to be on this team.
And ultimately, it is better for the USMNT to have players who are going to put all of their heart and soul into this team.
Absolutely.
Because the effort's going to be better. They're going to want it more. They're going to play harder. They're going to sweat more.
Yeah.
Because they want to be on the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah. And I'm so flustered with how like,
frankly put, the way that he did it and the things that were said was rude.
You know, I mean, I think the fact that he has said, yes, I'm committed to America, and then pulling the shit that he's, pulling the crap that he's pulled with, like, wanting to rest, or, you know,
which I suppose is a legitimate excuse, but that's all it is an excuse.
Yeah, I mean, you have players that are mid-season dropping their clubs and going to play. I mean, not that, you know.
Not necessarily dropping their clubs, but
wanting
accepting
international.
the call-up, right?
Accepting
because
the call-up. Wanting them.
It's important to remember that all of these players can decline the call-up.
Yes.
You know, and they don't. Boca doesn't. Dolo doesn't. You look at people who are doing amazingly for their clubs right now. Clint Dempsey, although that, you know, the league is over there.
Yeah.
They're stopping their focus on their clubs to come for the USMNT. When you look at MLS players, people like Jeff Cameron wouldn't think twice.
No. He would get the phone call, and before Clemson could even get the question out, the answer would be yes.
Right, his bags would be packed. You look at Raimondo, who's having a fairly good season, come up with some really amazing saves, going into this knowing he's not going to be that starting keeper.
No. And he's not even going to be, I don't think he's even going to be second string.
No, it's going to be
Gazan.
Yeah. But he still doesn't decline that call-up. He would rather... I can't.
Yeah. In any case, the point is, Team America is for people who want to be here. I don't give a crap.
If you don't want to play with us, go away.
The thing is, I would be more accepting of Tim Chandler's, you know, wanting to rest or whatever if he was 32 years old. Dude, you're 22.
Right. I feel like it is not a legit excuse at all.
Whatever. It's like calling in sick with a stomach ache when you have a test at school. No.
Right. Or I have a headache, I need to go home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right before you have like a huge like math midterm. Or whatever your worst subject is in school.
Or, you know, I stubbed my toe, it hurts really bad, let me go to the ER. Like, no.
Calm down.
No. Mr. Dramatic.
Anyways, I mean, I hope you figure it out, Timothy Chandler, honestly, I do. I
want to point out that you went from Timmy to Tim to Timothy, like losing all patience with him like his mom. Timmy, Tim, Timothy.
That's kind of how I feel. It's an accurate description of my emotions toward this child. 22-year-old child. So, all the best to you, Timothy Chandler.
Yeah.
I hope you figure it out, honestly. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to be here, just say so. Don't give crap excuses.
Right. And so that concludes our USMNT talk. If your suggestions differ from ours, we'd like to hear who you think should or will get called up. Send them in to us, and we'll discuss it when we talk about the second group that's going to get announced on the 20th.
Yes.
So, with that,
I'm Ivana.
And I'm Ayla.
We are Girls in Goal, and we will talk to y'all very soon.
Hooray.